For Halloween.
Each
Billion-dollar
year, as
business?
summer winds down, the ultimate American pop-up retailer winds up.
We've sort of now established August 1st as National Spirit Halloween Day.
Here for work this week from Ireland, and yeah, my wife was asking to get some like Halloween stuff while we're here, and we don't have Halloween stores like this back in Ireland.
In 2024, the
Sure, I think it's a
Halloween
US
chain has
business.
opened over 1,500 locations across North America and grosses around $1 billion according to some estimates. Achieving this is not an easy feat, considering the company's unique real estate model.
We don't see an abandoned Kmart.
Oh god.
We see a spirit. A spirit.
Also, if you don't know, this is just as when they're shutting down a whole bunch of Walgreens and Kmarts around the US.
Spirit Halloween.
This New York City flagship Spirit Halloween location opened here for the first time in 2024. Previously, this 21,000 plus square foot store was a bye-bye baby that became vacant after the company went bankrupt last year.
We spoke with the broker who told us that the asking price for the ground floor of this location is $100 per square foot. The property also includes additional space downstairs at a lower cost. It's unclear what Spirit paid for the duration of its lease.
In retail,
I think the only lease
Black
for, like, a
Friday,
week,
holidays, the periods where you make most of your money. But here, you're literally making your entire year in 4 weeks, and you
4
have to do it
weeks.
so effectively, and they're really good at it.
So how did Spirit Halloween turn the pop-up store concept into a billion-dollar operation?
These are fun. I'll be a pickle, okay? I'll be the pickle.
Oh my god.
Longtime mall retailer Spencer's bought the Spirit Halloween brand in 1999. After serving as the president of Linens and Things, Steven Silverstein stepped in to run the company in 2003.
I got us all together and I said, all right, let's just imagine for a second. I don't know how we're going to do it, but if we could, do you think the market potential is for Spirit Halloween? So this is 2003. We had 130 stores, and we all sort of got together, held hands, and said, 400. If we could just get the 400, man, that would be unbelievable.
About a decade later, Spirit Halloween surpassed 1,000 locations.
Jesus.
Today, it sits at over 1,500.
This is pretty awesome.
Spencer Spirit
No.
Holdings is a privately held
Oh.
company and declined to share financial
What?
data with CNBC. But in 2015, Moody's estimated the company's sales to be around $400 million.
Wow.
By January of 2024,
Just for a
that number
month?
had reached $1.9 billion for the combined businesses.
Jesus
Spencer's
Christ.
currently operates less than half the number of Spirit Halloweens, but its stores are open all year round.
Most of the
Is it actually open all year round? Because in my state, I swear to God, that they kind of just they kind of take over an empty building that has not been taken over by anyone else. They take it over, I guess, for 4 weeks, according to these guys, and then they dip out again. So I think, I guess, varies state to state on how long they stay, but
revenue and the margin is generated by Spirit, and most of their the overall business's income and revenue is generated leading to Halloween, that quarter that has Halloween in it.
Let's see what the cost of this costume is. I'm
probably like
interested.
$20.
So this would run you $30 to be a
Pretty
pickle.
close.
Spirit's growth in recent years reflects broader U.S. Halloween spending trends. Americans are estimated to spend $11.6 billion on Halloween in 2024.
Are you serious?
That's around $3 billion more than 2019.
We spend more on Halloween than we do Christmas? Nah, I have to look into
You go
this.
back to what happened in 2020, 2021, people had money in their pocket from stimulus. So people started spending more on Halloween. Business at Spirit has more than doubled than pre-COVID in terms of revenue, but they've really been able to drive additional traffic in the store.
The company does operate an online storefront, but told CNBC that accounts for a single-digit percentage of its sales. That's because a key part of its offering is the experiential nature of its stores. Take a look at these animatronics, or this fun house right here.
I mean,
Spirit
I'm kinda
Halloween's
shocked
entire
people still
business
buy
relies
from the
on
store.
landlords that haven't been able to sign their property full time and are
Uh-huh.
willing to take a short-term lease. Out of the top 5 prior tenants of Spirit Halloween locations,
Yeah,
4 of the
yep.
5 filed for bankruptcy in recent years.
CVS is next, by the way.
CNBC looked at a dozen random Spirit Halloween
when
locations
this is
across
being
11
recorded.
different states. 11 out of the 12 previous tenants have filed for bankruptcy at some point. The short-term lease is often a win for a struggling landlord as well. It gives them time to negotiate and sign a lease with a long-term lessee while still drawing foot traffic and security to the area.
They're looking to rent that space to a permanent tenant. That will only happen in the beginning of the year because very few retailers will build out a space and miss Christmas. So once you get to June or July, if you've got an empty retail space, that space is not going to get occupied at the very earliest until January
September.
or February of the following year.
Pricing is another important consideration. This leasing proposal is for a storefront in Redding, California that was previously a Barnes & Noble, a once bankrupt retailer. A broker that CNBC spoke with said that a permanent tenant in the area would pay between $16 and $18 per square foot. That's about $27,000
make
per
good
month
money.
for that location. It's also about the same price as Spirit's proposal for the 4.5-month contract. Suburban locations usually fall in the range of $20,000 to $40,000 for the Halloween season, according to experts that CNBC spoke with. Meanwhile, a storefront in New York City may be well north of 6 figures.
The difference between 5 and 50,000 feet is not, we don't pay 10 times the rent. We're looking at each of these locations, understanding what our volume potential is, which we've learned over many, many years, and that will translate into a fair rent payment.
Now the pop-up chain is looking to take its business past Halloween. It announced the piloting of 10 Spirit Christmas
That's a smart
locations in
move by
October
them,
of
honestly.
2024. 8 of those stores are currently Spirit Halloweens, meaning those leases are signed beyond their typical move-out dates. 4 of them were formerly Christmas tree shops, which filed for bankruptcy in 2023. Over the years, Spirit Halloween has become a trusted company within the real estate world. Larry Link, president of New York real estate firm Level Group, told CNBC that its track record has eliminated the risks of a standard pop-up, and Spirit can use that to drive an aggressive deal.
Which is true because like the amount of revenue they generate, like let's say that for the 4 weeks that they're in a building right up to Halloween day, not even Halloween night, maybe Halloween, let's say even Halloween night, let's say at 6 o'clock, right? It doesn't matter where you're located, just 6 o'clock in your area, that they are still generating revenue online, but more in person. And they basically paid the rent and made their whole money's worth, not in just a single shop, but over the 1,500 locations they have. So I mean, for them to go into the Christmas business is kind of the Christmas business. It is the they're going to be surpassing $1 billion in revenue, guaranteed.
This is unique because Link says that New York City pop-up stores would typically pay a 20 to 30% premium to use the space for a short-term contract.
But it doesn't
That's
matter
because
for-
renting
for
space
these
to a
guys.
temporary storefront comes with more risk than a traditional retailer. Some may not decide to leave when their 3 to 4 month lease expires, and litigation is expensive and time-consuming.
Very true.
Spirit says securing contracts was a lot more difficult in its early years.
There was hesitance because of the unknown. We were not known. It was just, we had to explain, well, what is Spirit Halloween? You do what? And how do you do that? And why should I have confidence that you're
think
going
you
to
just gotta
come
go in
in
the store
and
and
be a
learn,
benefit
like,
to me?
Figure it
The
out
typical
yourself.
challenge of a regular retailer is that you commit for a lease for 5 years and you discover you have a terrible location, but now you're stuck. Well, they are not. In their case,
You just got to go
once
to the
they
store.
find
If
the
you don't know what it is,
saturation
you just got to
point,
go into
they will
it and
learn
then
it immediately,
learn about
and
it
then
yourself.
all they need to do is not
That's how they
reopen
bring
that
more people
location
in.
next year.
I think this is pretty great.
Chips and salsa.
Chips and salsa.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. I think we'd get a lot of funny looks at the office, but
I did not wear a costume last year.
I know some people did. I think this is our year.
To run its 1,500 store temporary retail business, the company is hiring 50,000 seasonal workers in 2024.
Wow.
Labor market can fluctuate from year to year. Labor market can be fluctuating because of more short-term issues that are harder to anticipate. And I think that that's kind of the exposure that Spirit and other companies selling for short time windows are exposed to.
But there are some other potential challenges too. Although many Spirit Halloween stores are open for 3 months, a lot of the company's sales are done in the 2 weeks leading up to the holiday.
If it's a really cold year, if it's a storm coming through and the kids are not going to be able to go out trick or treating, all those things are going to have a huge impact on the demand for that particular year. Yep. By then, the stores are already committed, the inventory is already committed, and that can affect the performance of the Halloween season for that part.
But and in a way, I think he's wrong, because you can still, like, when I was younger, we went to, I don't know which mall we went to. I forget which mall we went to, but we had gone into a big mall, and each store had people standing outside of it, and basically just went in, like, to the outside of it, and went up to the whoever was there and said trick or treat, got the candy, moved to the next store, so on and so forth. If it didn't have someone outside the store, inside the mall, you might have to go inside the store, possibly. But 9 times out of 10, they're standing. So basically, even if it's cold outside, you can still go trick-or-treating inside the mall. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to.
Particular year.
When it comes to merchandising at stores, the company carries a mix of things that are ultra relevant and trendy to the current year. Think about the Beetlejuice movie that just came out. It has a whole section here dedicated to just that. But then there are things that are more classic Halloween. Think evergreen costumes like witches or cats. The company can rely on the fact that year after year, things like a broomstick are going to be sought after.
The evergreen stuff doesn't sell, no harm, no foul. We just carry it into the next season. Unlike most of retail, having inventory is not a bad thing. You know, if you have to hold it year over year, you can still use it.
True.
It's funny because, you know, you go from these like bloody scream masks to Garfield, all within 20 feet. It's hilarious.
That is strange. That is actually strange.
We're actually looking to be in stock going into those last 2 weeks. Whereas other retailers who are trying to fully liquidate really have to be, you know, sort of at their last licks, if anything.
Another consideration is tariffs. With merchandise coming from overseas, those could increase depending on the results of the 2024 election.
They need to anticipate those orders sometimes months in advance to the Halloween season. They buy in locations of the world that are like cheap to produce. You can think of like Southeast Asia, China. That's probably where many of these products are coming from. These require long lead times and a lot of long-term planning.
We're deep into 2025 right now, even conceptualizing
as soon as the Halloween season ends.
And that's really part of that supply chain puzzle. It's a relay race. Right. We have a calendarization of everything that has to happen. So right now we're in the concepting phase and we're doing a lot of the early prep work, but you have to get those seeds in the ground. And, you know, certainly we'll be influenced by what comes out of our Halloween experience this year.
No, it's a fair point, but I think if they start looking at like China, Asia, and all the places to make Halloween costumes, I think they should do it right as Halloween ends, so November 1st, so that way they get their orders in, and by March they can at least get it shipped out to even their warehouses, and then by that time, right, whatever they've ordered or will order will be there, and they have an idea of what it will or will not be in season, if you will. Like this year, I think skeletons are a big thing for some reason. Don't know why, but there's a lot of people that have big skeletons in their yards and stuff. But I think what they're doing is smart for a seasonal seasonal business. But for them getting into Christmas is kind of even smarter, I think. But I mean, Spirit Halloween, jeez.